I'm Pete.
And today we're at an Orlando Jeep Club event. Orlando Jeep Club is not just about trail rides, but they have meet and greets, sometimes 2-3 times a week. They have meet and greets in different places. They do the trail rides. They're heavily involved with Jeeping with Judd. In addition to that, they have club meetings with instructions. They have instructions on fire extinguishers. Today's event is called
I got a Jeep, so what now?
You got a Jeep. Believe it or not, there's some people who don't even know how to put it in four-wheel drive and they've got a Jeep. Well, today we're going to cover some basics here at Peter's house down in St. Cloud to teach you some basic things about owning a Jeep.
We'll be covering everything from communications on the trail to gear that you carry in your Jeep, spares that you might carry in your Jeep, bit of a Jeeping 101 all around. And to boot, when we're finished, we've got a track here, so we're going to have some fun and put what we've learned into practice.
If you're not a member of the Orlando Jeep Club, look them up. If you're in Central Florida and you drive a Jeep and you want to hang out with other people who Jeep and go on trail rides and learn those kind of things, then the Orlando Jeep Club is for you. It's not just trail rides, but it's instruction also. OrlandoJeepClub.com. Thanks for watching. Let's get into this.
We'll just do a quick introduction of everybody if you can. My name's Pete. I currently drive a two-door JK. I've been with the Jeep Club for 7 years now, maybe knocking at 8 years. That's my second Jeep. This will be my third one.
A stock Jeep is great. I think you mentioned that you have your pavement princess, you want something else to build for off-road. The stockest Jeep out here can do so much that you won't even realize it unless you get out and do it. And that's what these kind of events are for these kind of
yeah, and on that, like one of the real advantages of stock versus a built Jeep is weight. For those of you that are new, I would really encourage you to, when you're building your Jeep, think about weight, how much you're adding on, because that can be a killer.
One of the things that I like about the club is that we do stuff like this. One of the things that really impressed me when we first joined is they do lots of trainings. You know, we'll go out to different campgrounds and we'll camp for the weekend. We'll do sessions that are ladies only. The husbands are out of the Jeep. The women only learn to drive it without their husbands pecking at them, telling them how to do it right, which typically is not right. We all know how that works, you know. So that's the great thing about this club is we do lots of training. So when you get your Jeep and you go out somewhere, you know how to use it. And don't be afraid to ask any questions. You know, Ricky was the president for the first 10 years of the club. And like I said, we probably started out with a half a dozen people, and then, you know, whenever we got, when we joined the club, we went to a movie and came out to our Jeep, and somebody had put a little business card, just said the Orlando Jeep Club, and on the back it gave a website. Did the card say anything else?
It was Eric. It had Eric's name on it, but
yeah,
it just said our little about the club, what we're about.
Yeah, because I had the Jeep for we had it for about a year up to that point. Yeah, I had it for over a year. Never even thought about joining the Jeep Club because I had some friends that went off-roading, you know, with their trucks and their Toyotas and their Nissans, and I just went with them. Never even thought about joining a club, so we looked it up. They had a meeting coming up. So we went to the meeting, and everybody was friendly. You know, they had a lot of good information. They had a newsletter that was on paper. They didn't have anything on the internet. They didn't have a website yet. And so I just got all the old back issues of the newsletter. It was about 2 pages, about like my notes here. And we just started doing stuff, you know, meeting everybody and doing these kind of events, and you just get to know people, know your Jeep. And so we really enjoyed it. I think through the years there's been, let me just run down real quick. So Ricky was the president for the first 10 years. Then we had Brian Stark, Mike Enzer, Bob Orr, Chris Casey, Rich Hardaway, and now Janet. So it's, you know, not a lot of turnover. Usually people are the president for 1 or 2 years. Then they go away for a while because they're stressed out. It takes a lot of their time and energy. I mean, we got up to over 450 members. When I joined, there was like 60, you know, and everybody knew each other, and You know,
And that's one of the reasons I joined the club, and like the reason I do this and I help out with Judd is it's a way of giving back. This is the very first accessory that I bought for my Jeep. It's a little air down tool. Can somebody give me a reason why we air down?
Traction. Lighten your footprint. Soft ride.
Wait, hold on. So, right, traction first of all, correct.
Softer ride.
Softer ride. Third one.
Protect the trailer.
Protect the trail. Right. So these are a little thing that basically you can set the pressure, the desired pressure. You screw that onto your air valve and then you pull that out. And once it gets down to that pressure, it cuts off. You can air up. You can obviously go to your nearest gas station, or you can use an electronic air pump. This thing was great for a long time. It's an ARB unit. It's now in several pieces because it failed. I used this for maybe 6 or 7 years. The other options are the air tanks. 30 seconds and you're done.
Frequency mode.
The club is very pro CB radio, and we will stay that way, but I want to talk about another couple of options. You'll see quite a lot of people in the club using these things. This is a Bofang and this is rugged radio. So you'll hear a lot of people, and it's fair enough advice for anybody who's completely new to wheeling. They say, don't wheel on your own, right? I'm not of that school. If you want to wheel on your own, you know, you do, but do it within your capabilities. I used to use one of these, which is a Spot. This is great. This one, there are various levels of subscription. You can send text messages and stuff if you don't have cell phone coverage, and you have a kind of an emergency beam me up Scotty button. In the club, we require that you have a kinetic strap or rope. This is an example of a kinetic strap. This is a pretty old one. It's the first one I got. This is a kinetic rope. So there are some advantages and disadvantages to both of these. The advantage of this is that it packs up pretty small, tidy, you can put it away. This is, to be honest, a bit of a pain to stow away. Typically, I always carry these two, quite often carry 2 kinetics. You only obviously need to be one. These are basically toe straps. They do not stretch, they have no give in them at all. And I know a lot of people carry much bigger spades than this. This thing's been great. This was inspired by Jared, by the way. It's a snatch block for winching. A couple of important things. Obviously, you buy a decent one. If you have one of these things and you have had steel line and you then switch to synthetic, you shouldn't ever really use the same one. So what are the advantages of these over this?
When they break, they don't come through your windshield.
Correct. That's the main advantage. So I'm probably slightly over the top. This is my toolkit, but every time I worked on the Jeep, whatever tool I used came out of that and went into here. I mean, it seems to be bulletproof, you know, it'll last forever. This is a great little thing to have. I think it was 18 bucks on Amazon. It's brilliant. You know, you can just get under your Jeep in all sorts of mud and stuff, be comfortable and stay relatively clean. Because I do a number of stuff on my own and whatnot, that's when I would use this. If you're going anywhere on your own and you're going to be relying on your winch, if your winch fails, this can be a lifesaver. You want to stand well back, 2 hands always on the bar, all the way up and all the way down, because if that thing catches, it whips up, it'll break your arm, break your jaw. If you want to get into this and learn more, then get onto YouTube and watch videos on these things, but they really can be very nasty. few years ago I came across this thing, which is absolutely brilliant. So it's a regular jack, but it's also a jack stand. So it locks into position and it goes up to 18 inches as well. So if you've got big tires or whatever, this is superb. So your winch controller, know where it is, most importantly. And so this was on a pack that was actually behind my driver's chair. So I have that, and again I have gloves on top of it to try and remind me to use gloves. Fire extinguishers. I missed it, but Keith did a really good presentation on this. We should really get him to do that again. I carry a couple of extinguishers. One I try and keep near the front of the vehicle. I have it just behind the passenger seat so that I can grab it from the driver's seat rather than from behind my seat. And then I keep one at the back of the Jeep in case I'm out and about. The biggest single most important factor is there's one person in charge. We don't have multiple people giving advice. There's nothing wrong with giving advice, but if you're not the person in charge, walk to that person and say, hey, why don't we do this? And he'll say, good idea. You don't want lots of different information coming from the person in the vehicle. Needs to know one person is in charge. They're going to take all of their instructions from that person only. You don't listen to anybody else. Almost all winches these days come with a method of the line attaching to the drum. It doesn't have to for you to use it. Absolute golden rule is that this has to always be a minimum of 8 loops around that drum before it can be used.
Something to note, we're not doing a recovery here. We're just properly spooling the winch line onto that. So there's no hill here. It's just minor pressure to make sure that the winch line is properly going on the spool. This should be done regularly when you test it. I use like a tree in the yard, and me and Randy will make sure that's spooled on properly. Tell us again about that long pull, instead of bumping it.
Yeah, when you're winching, typically you want to have a nice steady pull on the winch line. If you're clicking on and off, it's creating extra heat and extra tension on the solenoids and the electrical component of the winch itself. And that creates heat.
Which can burn them out.
And can burn them out. Do you put it on your rings, or you?
Yeah, you can put it on tight.
So broadly speaking, when you buy a winch, you're gonna roughly buy something that's double the weight of your vehicle.
awesome.
Informative as always.
Yep. Well, how was the class?
Hey, it's awesome.
Awesome.
Love getting stuck.
How'd you like to have a trail in your backyard? Great.
That would be unreal.
Yep. Well, as every afternoon in the last, seems like 3 weeks, the wind has picked up and made droning very fun. Courtesy, that little trail there, that's Peter's backyard. How would you like to have a house with a Jeep trail in the backyard?
It's a lot of fun, and we have never had a day here where we haven't had to recover people. And yeah.
How many recoveries just happened?
Oh, 4 or 5 at least.
Yeah.
So, and that's just on the first lap.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing the class. We
Hey,
appreciate
you're
it.
very
It's very informative. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, you can look up Orlando Jeep Club. So if you have a Jeep, come on out. There's meet and greets and plenty chances to meet everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Pete, saying goodbye.
See you later.